Hi, everyone. My name is David Drever. I am a Microsoft 365 and security MVP working for Protiviti.
Hi, I'm Joanne Klein, and I own my own consulting company, Next Novus, and I work on Purview with my customers. So, Dave, what should we talk about today?
Joanne, we've been doing a lot of work lately on insider risk management, and I think it is something that a lot of organizations don't consider a lot of when they think about their E5 licenses and that sort of thing. So why don't we talk about that today?
Great idea. I agree.
And I got a couple of slides we can maybe talk to about this. So
Okay.
let's kick it off. So one of the things I have noticed, over the years here since I've been working with Purview is that insider risk management has been around for a while, but not a lot of people talk about it. I've only had a couple clients recently that really wanted to dig into it, and I actually think that's a huge miss for a lot of organizations, mainly because I think that one of the things that we've learned over the years is that there's um, a lot more of the issues or a lot more of the breaches that are happening are because it's actually an internal breach as opposed to someone coming from the outside. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes security teams are more focused or traditionally have been focused on the external threat, but
Mhm.
I think and that's still certainly valid, of course, but the threats coming from within an organization are sometimes overlooked. And no, it can be a significant point of data exfiltration for organizations, whether it's through malicious intent or just, sheer negligence by business users. At the end of the day, it's still your data being exfiltrated. So it's a pretty important feature, I think.
It is like to your point there earlier. Like I've only a few times have I ever been personally involved where it was actually a malicious intent, where it actually happened maliciously. Most
Hmm.
times when it's an internal breach, it's usually accidental oversharing or something along that line. So it's something that a lot of people don't even realize. And insider risk management isn't necessarily meant to police the people. It's more of an opportunity to actually educate people as well. Like it's an opportunity to flag, hey, Dave is sharing a bunch of stuff that maybe he shouldn't be doing, and we
Hmm.
should take a look at that. So.
Yeah. And it also protects against compromised users. I
Mhm.
mean, where the, phishing attacks that are going against end users isn't slowing down. So any way that you know somebody who wants to infiltrate an organization, that's also another great use case for insider risk management, is to mitigate that risk somewhat in case somebody is compromised.
Yeah, and what's happening these days too as well is that information or insider risk management isn't just a standalone tool anymore. It's a tool that actually integrates with all these different other
Mm,
tools or features within Purview itself, and actually even Defender to some extent as well.
yeah.
And what's great about that, and I know that it's near and dear to your heart, is adaptive protection. And
Hmm.
adaptive protection is the ability within insider risk management to actually actively protect your organization based on its own insider risk attributes. I know you've been doing a little bit of work around that lately.
Right. So, you know, basically not treating all users the same, making an informed decision on what is the risk level for each user across the organization based on the data related activity that they're doing. So, do they routinely deal with sensitive content? And uh, if they're working with that type of content a lot, maybe it's not unusual for them to be, downloading some sensitive files. Contrast that with somebody who hardly ever does that, but yet all of a sudden they start doing those things. So, being some of these models that are used in insider risk management can detect things like that. It knows kind of what is the norm of a user based on their peer group, or
Mhm.
what's an org wide norm, and then kind of apply a higher risk level to users based on kind of the holistic assessment of all of the activity that they're doing. That's a really simple explanation for it, but at the end of the day, it basically is assigning a risk level to a user, and then that risk level can be used by many downstream solutions inside Microsoft Purview, which I think is where the real strength comes in
Yeah.
this.
And even beyond that, or even maybe even bolstered by that too, is that insider risk management actually has the capability to integrate with your HR environment and things like that.
Yeah.
So I've actually developed a tool for a client where when the a user sets himself up as resignated, put in the resignation, or they're ready to leave the organization for whatever the reason may be. Your own HR system can help you flag that in insider risk management. And
Yeah.
what that does is actually really, really cool, is it actually flags the system to put a little more scrutiny on that one person. And no reason because you don't trust them, but you just need to make sure they aren't. Let's be terribly honest, quite often when someone leaves an organization, they think they're entitled to the information they built while they were actually with that
Yeah.
organization, which, you're probably not.
Yeah.
And they want to take it with them. And
Yeah.
organizations have been hurt because of that. And
Yeah.
what some organizations don't realize is that, let's say, for instance, that, I did something bad and I got fired today. Well, it's not going to be looking at just what I did today. It actually will look back 90 days. And it'll
Yeah.
actually take a look at, what did Dave do 90 days ago? Because, I may have actually started exfiltrating data even before I put in my resignation. So it has that ability to really backfill some of that information and take a look at what you've been doing.
Yeah, that's a really key part of this, and usually some eyebrows go up when you explain that to people on that's how insider risk management works. I had an interesting question at a conference I was recently at, where somebody said, that's well and good, but it won't stop somebody, like if they were exfiltrating data, let's say up to 90 days past, it won't stop them from having done that. True, but I think this is where adaptive protection comes into play, is if you have that feature enabled inside insider risk management, then it would be able to, prior to somebody handing in their resignation, it would be able to detect that anomalous activity and start applying some of these other controls, data loss prevention controls, conditional access, etc., to block and in that case, sometimes prevent that exfiltration of data. So it can, in fact, do it, by lighting up some of these other features, adaptive protection.
So I have a suggestion here, Joanne. I think that maybe we should have a discussion, a couple of discussions moving forward on all of this, because we have this nifty little, we have a couple of things we want to talk about around this. I know you and I have talked about this before. And so, the thing is that it's not limited to just those one technologies. You see here, this is your slide here. So why don't you talk to that there, Joanne?
Sure. When I work with most customers I work with, insider risk management is not the first place that they start. And that makes sense because, in fact, what you're looking at here is all of the different features that integrate and, I would say, inform insider risk management. So it can react to different activity going on across the tenant. So that's why this defense in depth approach makes sense, because it's not just insider risk management. It has integration with information protection, the way you're classifying your data. It can inform data loss prevention policies and the actions that they take. Same with conditional access as well as data lifecycle management. So they all work together, and you'll see the underpinning on all of this is adaptive protection, because it has tie-ins with not all, but most of those things that you're looking at on this screen. So I think this kind of captures the end-to-end story of implementing insider risk management.
Yeah, so I encourage our viewers here to hang out with us here for the next few sessions, because we're going to be covering this in a lot more depth, all these different components of insider risk management. This is actually mine and Joanne's first series. We're doing a series on insider risk management. We're pretty excited about it. So we look forward to joining you guys all to join us.
Thanks.
Thank you.